the Dead Sea Scroll calendar on the bottom. The Chabad Jewish calendar up top. Okay? So, we know today is Tuesday, September 16th. Okay? Now, Elul, Elul 23 is today's date in the Jewish calendar. Okay? Now, when you look up in the Dead Sea Scroll calendar, okay, so if you come down here to September, come up here to the one I'm moving right now. They have Rosh Hashanah, all right, at the 23rd, and then that's the Feast of Trumpets, would be the first of Tishri. Problem I have with this is we know that they're not correct. They haven't been correct forever and ever, ever. Okay? They even had 2 Passovers in the scriptures because they were vile and filthy as rabbis, and they would have to pray for God to honor, okay, a second Passover because they wasn't keeping the first one clean. So when I read about their history and how things were done because they wasn't doing things properly, the difference between the Dead Sea Scroll calendar, because the Dead Sea Scroll calendar is where the King James should be originated from because it's the Greek and Hebrew. That is the original foundation, is the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, that's where our Bible originates from. Again, people going, well, we got this book and I don't care none about that. The King James is the one that God has blessed worldwide, and it is the one Bible out of all the rest of those Bibles people like to argue about. It is the one Bible that gets your head chopped off in other countries if you rocking with a King James. They don't take you out for no other book. They have to sneak King James Bibles in to some countries. Okay? So we could say, but again, it's just a matter of opinions. I said before, hey, free will. You use whatever you want to use. I'm just showing you why I prefer to look at the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay? So on here, they have September 23rd as Rosh Hashanah, which this happens at the beginning of the first month of the 7th month, which we should be understanding that this is the time of Noah, right? The 7th month, which is Tishri. Now, if we come down here and look at the Dead Sea Scroll calendar, for me it makes sense because it's calling on that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's the same way the Cabal uses Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as the times of where they want to commit their face or their false flags. Tuesday in the Jewish calendar. So for me, folks, whatever you want to use, right? Jesus said if you're watching, you will know the hour. He didn't say you're going to know the second or the minute. Okay? He didn't say that. He said if you're watching, you will know the hour. And we're in the hour. Jesus can't put out the exact second of when it is. What we know is the hour. Because guess who's waiting to stop the harpazo when it happens? Satan and all his army. Okay? How you shoot a hellfire missile at one of these UFOs and it don't blow up? That's past man's technology. Okay? We may be looking at some demonic activity, and we know we are, because the word tells us that we are not wrestling against flesh and blood, but of spirits and principalities in high places. Okay? So, there's a week difference in betweenks. Now, for the Gentiles, that number is 17. That's the number of victory. That rings more true to me than the Jew. Now, you use whatever you want to use, folks. I ain't telling you what you can and can't, what you gotta. All right? Free will. You use what you want. As long as you ain't using them pagan January, February, March, April calendars. Okay? We need to get as close to the truth as we can, because the word says we're still looking at it through a glass that is dark. But for me, the double entendre would fulfill both sides of the coin. There's a people who are not my people, that shall be my people. And that's what he told the Jews. Because of their unbelief, you've opened the books up to the Gentiles. And to the Gentiles, what is 1 Thessalonians 4, 16, 17? On 17, that's when the harpazo happens in 1 Thessalonians 4, 16, 17. The dead rise up on 16. Verse 17, those of us which are alive and remain shall be called up. On verse 17. But over here, see, this is what I'm saying. It's a double entendre. You got your Jewish Feast of Trumpets. They celebrate the first of the month. It is said on YouTube they are planning to do the largest blow of the trumpet on the 23rd. That's important because on the 23rd, they also plan to make their enemy a nation state within the border. So is that really going to happen, or are they going to wait till the 24th on the second day of Tishri to make Palestine a nation state, which is rebellion against God in Joel chapter 3, the whole chapter? Okay. Now, when you come down here and look at on the Dead Sea Scrolls calendar, 1 week later, 7 days later, on this calendar, okay, Tishri 8 is September 24th. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter whatever you want to use. There's a week apart. Now, this week apart, I really feel like there's a lie, and the reason why this ought to be noted is because there are things that could be happening from this coming Wednesday, tomorrow, until next Wednesday. More evil personified, and the biggest one of them all is that they're going to make Palestine a nation next week, and that is rebellion against God's most high word in Joel chapter 3. He said, if you do this, war is coming. Now, I would like to think that, and tomorrow ain't promised to nobody, and no one person can counsel the mind of God, right? But then again, that hour is 30 minutes in heaven. That's 30 days on earth. Okay? September, October, 30 days plus 30 days. Okay? That's 2 months. But in heaven, that's an hour. Because the scriptures is clear. When he had opened up the seventh seal, there was a space of a half an hour. That's how we get to the 6 months being 180 days. That's the same as the book of Esther. So, all I'm saying, folks, you can look at whatever you want, but what I'm saying, this is super high watch time. And then when you're talking about an escape, there is no set date on an escape. Okay? The Lord is going to make it because he's sovereign. He will do what he wants to do when he get ready to do it, and he's still in control. But when I look at the civil unrest hitting this earth, it has to be this year. I'm just saying by faith, I'm speaking that it has to be this year. You're talking about making them a nation state in a border that you're not supposed to do that. So could God pull us out of here before that happens? Because I could see them saying, okay, let's say we get snatched out of here before next Wednesday, and then next Wednesday they still go head on with their, and that would even be more of a reason why they would make Palestine a nation state, because of the confusion that would be going on in the world. They would just add to it. Okay? So it's just something to take a look at, folks. Just something to be watchful and mindful for between tomorrow and on the 24th. We're looking at high super watch on solar activity. Okay, as well. People relationships are breaking down worldwide. Either way it go, folks, it is time to go, and let's make sure that we keep our lamps full of oil and our vessels full of oil. Okay, peace.